It speaks. Yes, its adventures are interesting, even if the chances for success are remarkably slim. It would be better to throw oneself off a cliff, I suspect. Does it wish me to leave? I can, though I see no reason to go. Refreshing. Normally such words would be accompanied by the wave of a control rod. I shall remain as it asks. Perhaps we should continue. Its chances of success are small enough without further dawdling.
You hear about those hunters from Oswald?
He did. I demand it. King Loghain will not suffer the delay of his appointment.
Vieta! This land is held in trust for the sovereign dwarven kings. I cannot allow entry at this time.
King Loghain demands the allegiance of the Desher, or lords, or whatever you call them in your assembly. I am his appointed messenger.
I don't care if you're the king's wiper. Orzammar will have none but its own until our throne is settled.
They hide because they are dwarves.
I would challenge any race to fare as well. Our king is dead. Endrunai Dukan returned to the Stone not 3 weeks ago. The Assembly has gone through a dozen votes without agreeing on a successor. If it is not settled soon, we risk a civil war.
The Wardens killed King Cailan and nearly doomed Ferelden. They're sworn enemies of King Loghain.
Well, that is the Royal Seal. That means only the Assembly is authorized to address it. Grey Warden, you may pass.
You're letting in a traitor? And a foreigner? In the name of King Loghain, I demand that you execute this stain on the honor of Ferelden. You'll hear of this. King Loghain will see you quartered.
You are free to enter Orzammar, Grey Warden. Though I don't know what help you will find.
Those statues are dwarven paragons, if I remember right. The best of their ancestors. So, Shale, when you were standing there all that time, did you sleep?
I have no need to sleep. My body does not tire or do other flesh-related functions.
But don't you get bored? Wouldn't you want to dream at least?
I do not dream. This is what it does when it sleeps. It paws its nose and mumbles incoherently.
Yes, of course. I thought we all... Huh. You watch me?
I watch all closely when they are still at night. There is little else to do.
For hours and hours?
I count the breaths. It helps to overcome the overwhelming urge to crush their faces while they sleep.
Well, I won't be doing much of that anymore.
It is the Assembly who makes a king, and a king who nominates his successor. None of it is carried in the blood.
Or, as now, when someone tries using the Assembly to pull a coup. Who's to say what my father said in his final hours, when the usurper Harrowmont was the only one by his side?
I'll have you thrown in prison.
You've bitten off more than you can chew!
Handlers, separate these dashers in the diamond quarter. I will not have Balin incite a riot.
Do not speak that way about the man who should be king!
Vieta, Surfacer. I'm bid to let you walk the commons, but keep your place. Warden or not, I want order. See, that's why I don't want you surfacers seeing our worst. You'll think that's all we are. The market is thin, but busy, and the tavern never closes. Bad blood is usually kept to the proving. Should toss Balin and Harrowmont in there, sort this all out in a hurry. They've caged themselves for fear of each other. As you've seen, keeping order down among us working people is dodgy. No place for a proper lord. Balin speaks through his second, Vartag Gavorn, in the Assembly. Lord Harrowmont speaks through Dulin Ferelden from his estate. Surfacers appoint no paragons? Truly, you're lost in all that sky. They are the best of us, declared living ancestors. If you must be our warden, at least know us. Go to the Shaper of Memories in the Shaperate, the true bright spot in the Diamond Quarter. Surface problems. Well, we have no king to hear you. You can join the shouting at the Assembly in the Diamond Quarter if you want. Bunch of Desher lords bickering over sand. Balin, Harrowmont. Is one so different? No paragons here. Yes, you should.
Did you see that? I cannot believe what this city has come to. This would never have happened when Endrin was alive. Aye. What a terrible burden for a father to have only Balin left of 3 fine sons. In the end, Endrin himself recognized that Balin cared for nothing but power. It was Endrin who ordered his son away from his deathbed and embraced Lord Harrowmont as his heir. Lord Harrowmont should be our king. He was King Endrin's closest advisor, the only one he could trust. Endrin himself, ancestors welcome him, asked the Assembly to endorse Harrowmont. The city is torn apart. King Endrin is dead and the Assembly can't decide who takes the throne, Lord Harrowmont or that monster Balin. Everybody knows he killed his brother Trian and let his father's favorite son take the blame. And many question whether Endrin died abed, as we were told, or whether Balin helped him along. Only as a potential match for one of his sons. He was a good king, stern and fair and just. He died in bed after his eldest son was murdered, and the Assembly condemned his second son for it. I cannot blame him for preferring to join the ancestors in eternal peace, if Balin didn't murder him himself. He is a good man and a skilled general. King Endrin trusted him with his life, and I will do no less. I am Narav Helmi, 3rd daughter of the 2nd matron of House Helmi. And you, stranger, what brings you to Orzammar at such a time? A Grey Warden? That explains why they allowed you past the gates. What kind of aid do you mean? A blight? Now? But our warriors are killing each other in the streets. I'm sorry, stranger. I fear there will be no aid for you in Orzammar. If you seek Lord Harrowmont's support, I suggest you talk with his trusted advisor, Dulin Ferelden. He might be able to get you an audience.
I heard there was a Grey Warden here. I am Dulin Ferelden, second to Lord Harrowmont, King Endrin's own choice as successor. Word is spreading that the surface may suffer a blight. It is shameful we are not in a better position to help. That may be, and that is a terrible risk for the surface. But even if the world would end tomorrow, Lord Harrowmont cannot ignore Balin today. He cannot afford to trust anyone of unproven loyalties. That's a generous offer. If you mean it, you might attend the proving today. The Deshers take it very seriously, and unfortunately, Balin found some way to blackmail or intimidate House Harrowmont's best fighters into stepping down. That would be enlightening. Though I hope you won't pry too deeply into things they don't wish revealed. If you wish to show your loyalty, enter the proving as his lordship's champion. With your order's reputation, I've no doubt the ancestors would favor your arm. Balin would never work with anyone who humiliated him in that way. Harrowmont would have no fear of meeting with you then. Excellent. The arena is located off the Commons. Talk to the Proving Master and tell him you're entering Lord Harrowmont's roster. The key fighters we lost were Guidon and Baisel. You can look for them in the fighters' preparation chambers behind the ring. And be sure it's before the fights begin. After the first bout, no one may change the roster. If you need to find me again, I will wait in the Tapster's Tavern off the Commons. There is no better place to hear gossip. Perhaps even word of your victory.
The Assembly is in session. Enter quietly if you wish to observe.
Your mind has gone to dust if you think we would pass such a writ. Half our houses would go broke without the surface trade.
The proposal is only effective until we have a king to ensure we are respected by the surfacers.
Leaving you conveniently positioned to take over all contracts. I'll see your head on a pike first.
Deshers, lords and ladies of the Assembly. I've already doubled the guard to prevent violence. Must I summon more?
Steward Bandalore, Balin's sympathizers are tying our hands with trivialities. They may as well open us to the sky.
I suggest we put the matter to a vote.
And I suggest you have a taste of my family's mace.
Enough! The Assembly is in recess until the members can regain control of their emotions. Stone-forsaken fools and dusters. I'm sorry. This is the Assembly of the Clans. Only Deshers and occasional guests of state are allowed in. Oh, Stone. You must be the Grey Warden. I completely forgot about the Gate Guard's message. Welcome to Orzammar, Warden. I hope you can forgive our unrest. The loss of our king has hit us hard. Respect for your role is great, but you won't receive a proper hearing until we have a king on the throne. Troubling, but it will still seem distant compared to the empty throne. The Assembly is blind to all else. I must admit, Warden, I am at a loss myself. It lies with Prince Balin or Lord Harrowmont, and they are slow to trust anyone in these uncertain times. I only wish there was more I could do for you.
I have never heard of a thing called a Qunari.
Then you have not been listening. We did not row to shore last year. We have been about for centuries.
I have listened. I have done little else, in fact. And yet I do not remember anyone mentioning such a Qunari in all my years in the village.
Relying on humans as a source of education is a fool's errand.
They are rather ignorant, aren't they? And feeble, at the best of times.
We have creatures on Ferelden that are similar. The humans call them monkeys. They are dull, cowardly vermin. They cry out shrilly when threatened and throw their own feces.
That is an excellent comparison. I wonder if they're related.
Possibly.
The Proving Grounds. Bloodsport entertainment for the masses, at its best.
Look, I already told the Proving Master I withdrew. Do you have to keep harassing me? Nor I you, but it's pretty obvious who you're working for. I am. So if you're not here to... How do you know who I am? Look, it's just, when I was younger, I had a thing with this Idukan girl, Revelka. Lesser cousin, nowhere near the throne. Her family wanted her marrying up, so they matched her with a BMO. But we didn't exactly stop seeing each other. She's married to a prominent Desher's heir. We should have stopped a long time ago, but... I love her. Do you know what that's like? Now Balin found out, and I can't even help my cousin for fear he'll tell her husband. They have letters. Love letters Revelka wrote me. If they were made public, she'd be disgraced. Her husband would cast her aside, and I would be lucky to be allowed to die in a duel. There's no way to guarantee that. I appreciate the thought, but they really have me over a shaft here. You'd do that? I don't know how to thank you. I know it's my own fault, but I'd have married her if I could. Balin's fighter Miaja has the letters. If you make sure she never shows them to anyone, I'll fight for Haremont again. But you need to find them quickly. Registrations close once the first bout starts.